We got a pretty good day ahead of us. Got at minimum 5 miles of hiking till we get to our campsite. But the main thing for me, if we can have a fire tonight and we work quick enough, I wanted to leave a lot of my tools behind, because with this amount of hiking and the amount of gear I had to carry, I'm already at about 41 pounds in my pack. But I wanted to keep it as efficient as possible. And the reason why I built the TFK T17 is for this exact reason, for my backpacking, hiking, and camping applications. So I'm hoping that I will find, even though I left my other tools behind, that my T17 is going to do exactly what I need to process some wood for my fire. So the reason why I made this sheath the way I did is so I could carry it in the vertical position on my shoulder strap on the hike in. But now I have this positioned basically to carry it nice on my belt in a cross draw style. So now I'm transitioning into camp mode versus hiking mode, and transfer the knife. So here on the tech lock, you'll see that there's a spacer. I have that set up so it fits the strap of my backpack perfectly with no slop, keeps the knife nice and sturdy, and allows me to transfer this at this point. So for me to do that and get it on my belt, all I need to do is space these little spacers further out to accommodate the webbing of my belt. So now you'll see I have this to accommodate the webbing of my belt. Now I situated these so that the knife will sit as high as possible on the clip. So in my opinion, by doing that, you actually minimize the amount this will move around. I feel like you have a more secure grip with that tech lock if you have it kind of further up, and the knife won't move quite as much. So now I just have it cross draw right on my webbing. You'll see it sits on the belt nicely, and it's right here where I need it. So right at my side. So when I need to do some work, I have it nice and canted in the proper direction. Now it also allows me to sit down without this getting in the way. So for me, transferring this to my belt is pretty nice. Now the other way to go would be as a dangle setup. That's where the leather pouch comes in, and I will soon have the ability to dangle this particular sheath. I have a dangler assembly, but I just did not use it for this particular trip. But you know, I could obviously attach that, so when I get to camp I can dangle the knife down my side. But for me right now, cross draw works perfectly well. So we made it to where we're going to be camping, and this is about the best spot. We got tons of snow here, but we'll just pack it down, no big deal. So we're going to spend a little time packing this down, get the tents in this area, and then I'm going to set up between this tree and this tree right here, and probably this one here actually, and yeah, we'll be good. So nice little site here, beautiful pond, and it's supposed to be clear tomorrow. I see plenty of clearing back in there. It's just we got this low-lying cloud over us right now. This might turn into a nice afternoon. So got this pretty well cleaned out. I had a bunch of work to do. Probably should have filmed using the knife, but it performed very well. Blasted right through all this stuff, cleaned up all this stuff, got rid of all the eye pokers, and gave me a spot to hang my hammock. So just improving a little bit upon the existing campsite here, and got to get my stuff set up now. Think it'll go?
I'm trying to figure out the best spot to go after.
Yeah, it's split down.
This is the remainder of that tree.
Yeah.
It might actually be just to even stick it in there and
Try it?
Yeah. On this side, it looks like.
Would you hold this there,
more of a
Terry?
See that?
Yeah, it's
main
split.
one. See, yeah. Yeah, I should just do that.
Just be careful if that pops. If you pull the knife the opposite direction, at least. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Do you want to try and pull on that?
Yeah, here. Put it this way. Okay. Let's see.
Let's try this.
Let's get this knife out of the equation for a second.
Alright, let me see. I'll take it for you.
Oh, here's I got the sheet for you. Here.
Thank you.
It's like the base, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just making a pile of
Oh yeah, it's chopped up. I'm gonna put the damper stuff to the side because it's like
That's right.
yeah. We should see this one.
This stuff will all like dry. That's
That's a good piece, huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me just give it a couple little whacks right there. There it goes.
Oh, the duck's watching us. Standing right over there. Yeah.
Okay, spin.
These dumb humans over there.
The ground is all mushy. Let's blow this open without cracking it into the rock. There we go. All right. Nice. That stuff's nice and dry. At least it's split open some. Yeah, there we go. So I just have a little piece of fat wood that was in my fire kit. So at this point, I think we're just gonna kind of process this down a little bit and help us start the fire. You smell the pitch?
Mm-hmm.
So even after all that chopping and batoning, still nice and sharp, capable of doing a great job with these little curls. I mean, on that fat wood, you'll see some of these dainty little curls that should catch real nice. So if I make a couple of these little bundles, I think we'll be in good shape. So after a great day, we basically only made it about 4.7 miles, and that's all right. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? It was really tough conditions, but we had a good time at this campsite, had a really nice fire, and I have to say that I'm actually really happy at how the T17 performed today. Overall, generally speaking, performed very well. This actually has, I believe, still a really pretty sharp edge. I'm not really too sure right now. You know, I used it a ton. I haven't really checked it too carefully at this point, but you know what? I think we'll get it back in the studio. I still have a little more work to do. I know I'm going to be using it tomorrow morning for my breakfast. I'm going to be slicing up my breakfast tomorrow morning, so there's a little more to do with it. But for the most part, I have to say I've been very happy with this as my camp tool option. So this is one of the things I like about having the T17 right on my shoulder. We're gonna try to cross here, but the way here, that was very dodgy with all the things spiking up and grabbing at us. So on the way back, I'm just gonna take the extra minute, clear that out of the way with the knife, just so that at that point we can scoot across a little easier. But hopefully this will go okay. Nice. Haha. Nice work. So that was perfect. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to be able to do with the T17. Kind of why I designed it this way. You know, there's different things you come into. You need just that right size blade. And so the versatility of the carry system coming into play, and then the overall capability of the T17, that was awesome. And so now that we're back in the studio taking a quick look, here is my T17. So basically at this point what I've done is I've taken my work sharp field sharpener and I have stropped the edge. So real easy, just a number of passes, I stropped the edge. I used the fine ceramic rod and just kind of hone the edge real easy, for the main reason being, after I actually washed the blade was the very first thing I did, and then I kind of touched up the edge just a little bit, simply for the standpoint of pretty much taking the gunk and grime that was all over this blade off, just to look at the overall sharpness. Now at this point, a couple little ways to test this. Doing the general kind of like nail nick test here, you'll see that as I go down the blade, the entire blade, maybe that one spot right there kind of slides on me, but the rest of it is grabbing and seems to be pretty sharp. Another little kind of spot right there sliding on me just a bit. So generally speaking, very sharp. Now you'll see I do have a little coating of grease on there, so that's my frog lube grease, just to kind of clean this thing up and protect it, get it back to perfect operating condition. But as we go through it here, let's take a quick look at the overall just paper test. Little snag right there. And that's kind of where it was slipping with me on my nail. Generally pretty sharp if I'm careful with my technique. I can get it to go most of the way through the blade without getting too hung up. There's that one spot right around here, and actually you can almost see just a little bit right there, the way the light's kind of glimmering on there. There is the slightest bit of a roll, but keeping in mind the fact that this is my original prototype, so literally 100% of the footage that you've seen utilizing this T17 since the day I got it. I'm talking like 4 or 5 months of continuous use with this same knife. I mean, all the testing you've seen, every single video that I have put out with this particular knife has been this exact copy. This is the only knife I have used since I've gotten my hands on it. And when you really look at the quality of the edge, the overall edge retention, the general ability to hold a nice edge after all of that use, I mean, this has been absolutely perfect. So I am very thrilled at the performance. I'm extremely happy with how this performed in the wilderness backpacking camping application. I was very thrilled to have this out on the trails with me. I greatly enjoy it, but most of all, I trust it. This has become a blade that I greatly trust. I built this in order to trust it, and I absolutely do. So, in the backpacking camping application, I have to say I am quite impressed. So TFK, nice work. Thank you for building this wonderful blade, and I greatly look forward to everybody else who gets their hands on it, giving me some feedback, letting me know what they think. But for me, this is definitely my backpacking option.